Thank you, everybody, for joining us back here at dynaCERT's channel. We're sitting here once again with President and Chief Executive Officer of the company, Jim Payne. And Jim, previously we got to know your origin story, so to speak, and a little bit about yourself and your role. But today we want a solid company overview. So how are you doing, and are you ready to get into it?
I'm doing very well. Thank you, Michael. And for sure.
Perfect. So imagine I haven't met you before. I'm an interested investor, and I'm curious about dynaCERT. Give me the let's say the 10-floor elevator pitch, so to speak.
Sure. Well, we like to say we're a proud Canadian company with a global solution to reduce pollution. We do that with a very unique hydrogen technology where we have a patented technology that produces hydrogen on demand. It feeds it into an internal combustion engine to enhance the burn. It is very computerized. It determines the proper flow rate of gases to introduce that to enhance the burn or to give it the diesel engine a more complete burn. By doing that, we improve the fuel economy 10 to 15%, sometimes in as high as 20%. But more importantly, we reduce the emissions or the toxic gases within the emissions right at the source, right at the combustion. We're not a filtration system. By doing this and by giving the engine a more complete burn, we reduce the NOx, one of the most deadly gases produced by the diesel engine. We reduce that up to 88%. But primarily, we reduce all the toxic gases north of 50%. You look at the particulate matter, the black smoke. We are reducing this right at the combustion. Like I said, we are not a filtration system. Historically, on a diesel engine, they have the DEF systems, the DPF systems, the EGR systems, which all these systems are making everybody feel good. You take the DPF system. It is a filtration system where it is gathering the carbon, so we're not seeing it coming out of the smokestack. But the reality is these engines then go through a regen. They're supposed to get off into a remote area where it burns it all off and engulfs the truck in smoke and puts it all right back in the atmosphere. At the end of the day, what cannot be cleaned by a regen, eventually these filters get removed and they get put into the landfill site. So all this pollution is really going right back into our atmosphere, either into the air or into the ground, where with our technology, this is being reduced, like I said, right at the source or right at the combustion. And that's really what excites me. That is what I fully believe now the world is seeing, they're understanding this. We look at, what's happening, over the last few years, but primarily this year, and especially even over the last few months, there is more and more and more companies that over the last year and a half have run pilot projects. They wanted to test it. They wanted to see it. Although we have spent a lot of money having this thing certified and tested and verified globally by some of the largest governing bodies out there, everybody is always skeptical. And especially you get into the trucking industry, which was our first focus to market. Over the years, you got to realize, these gentlemen, these truckers, they've been inundated. You put this in your tire, you put this in your oil, you put this in your fuel tank, you shove this up the tailpipe. It goes on and on and on, and it's going to improve your fuel economy. Well, they have become very, very reluctant, but now they have ran tests. They ran trials. They're seeing it. Just this past week, actually last Thursday, it was announced Electro, one of the largest power supply companies here in Canada, they had bought 15 of our units 7 months ago to run a trial pilot project. They were a public company. We signed NDAs. We couldn't talk about it. We can now talk about it. They just press released as of Thursday.
Congrats.
They had a very successful trial. They actually won the innovation award here in Ontario for this technology and for doing this with their company. And I would say, watch what comes out, this quarter in additional sales and things like that, which, is reflected from that and other trials that are now going to turn into real sales, real repeat sales. These are no longer trials. It was interesting. I just had a conversation with this company and they said, Jim, now we need the formal contracts because we want to outfit our fleets. We are no longer in trials. These are full-pledged purchases. So it is such a breath of fresh air to know that we are now moving from that trials to real life sales.
Yeah, Jim, you touch on a lot of really interesting points here. One of the first one, as you had said, a lot of other potential solutions have been brought in front of this people. And let's be honest, the diesel vehicles are a real workhorse that are a backbone when it comes to transportation and a lot of things all across, this continent and many others as well. But it is rather dirty. But because of that, people have came up with, as you called them, patch solutions, so to speak. But you guys kind of attack the source of the issue there. And now, as you had said, you don't just talk the talk, but you walk the walk, and people are starting to recognize that as well. So what does that mean for your guys' future from here? You're getting people, they're trying them, and they're saying we want more. What does that mean for your guys' timeline, say over the next quarter or so?
Well, I expect that this fourth quarter of this year is going to be by far the biggest, most exciting quarter that this company has ever experienced. I firmly believe moving forward, like I had indicated, I strongly believe we're just now going into that curve. It was interesting. We were actually at that point just prior to COVID. Everything was just happening. Not that the stock price is, an actual, tells everything about the company, but people measure us by that. The
Mhm.
stock price had soared. We hit an all-time high. Then COVID hit. We were forced to shut down. We were forced to do everything, and our stock just kept sliding. Now we have bottomed out in the last couple months. Now this thing has just turned and is starting to climb again. And I strongly believe with announcements and with sales, with repeat sales, that we are going to see this change and change very dramatically in a very hurry.
Wonderful. And you mentioned sales, Jim. Can you walk me through the verticals you guys are typically targeting when it comes to getting this platform out there to people?
For sure. Michael, like I said, our initial target was transport trucks, Class 8 trucks, which is, a very large potential for the company.
Mhm.
But since then, we have now moved into the mining, into the large diesel generators, so you get into the mining equipment, like these massive mining trucks. We've got units that go on there that have now proven north of 15% improved fuel economy. They're excited. They're excited about the emission reductions. But really, what is going to drive this thing also is the future of carbon credits. We hold the worldwide patent on the means and methods of monitoring and monetizing carbon credits within an internal combustion engine. We have spent the better part of 2.5 years going through the certification process with Verra, which is the largest governing body for carbon credits. They have approved our methodology. We are in the final stages of the audit process to have this thing certified. As soon as this is certified, everybody that puts our technology on gets carbon credits. Now, the way we have this structured for the company maintains 50% of the carbon credits. The end user gets 50% of the carbon credits. That's an added bonus for the return of investment on the company. It gives them huge bragging rights, but
Yeah.
it also gives the company or dynaCERT that I like to call it like the razor blade effect. That will give us that reoccurring revenue stream that we have, I believe, for several years that was the future.
Jim, I don't really think there's anybody else in the market doing anything similar to this right now, is there?
There is other companies that over the years have attempted to do what we do as far as diesel injection or as far as hydrogen injection to the diesels. There is companies like we were 10, 15 years ago producing brown gas. But most importantly, what differs us is the computerization of our unit. Our unit is fully computerized. It determines the proper flow rate of gases, which is so critical. But then we have what we trademark the hydrolytica. The hydrolytica is the platform where, as soon as you put our unit on a vehicle, an engine, the computer is extracting information right from the OBD port or right from the computer of the engine, where it shows the improved fuel economy, the reduction in emissions, converts it to GHG, which in turn converts it to CO2e, which qualifies for the carbon credits. This is all computerized. There's no human intervention with that, so nobody can play with it. And it is huge. Like I said, that's the future of this company.
Wonderful, Jim. Well, listen, I think you did a really good job laying out a solid overview for people here today. But if anybody has any questions, please don't be afraid to send them over. We'll have more exciting updates as we go along here. Jim, any closing words?
Uh, Closing words is, I guess, the biggest thing that I see is there is a lot of companies and a lot of people out there talking about the future and what we're trying to do in the future. I strongly believe in the hydrogen economy of the future, which dynaCERT is the research and development has worked very hard at. We are a big part of that as the future, but we are a bridge technology which is available now. I mean, this is not something that we're talking about that we hope to do by adapting our technology to any internal combustion engine and primarily to these large diesel engines that are not going anywhere anytime soon. We have a technology that we make diesel green.
Well said, Jim. Thank you so much for your time today. I look forward to our next chat. Everybody, please have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Michael.